I just remember seeing you hanging from your hair. You're doing aerial.
Hair suspension.
Do you call it? It should be called hairial. I don't know why we're not calling it hairial. Hi, I'm Dana. This is Words That Move Me. We're getting right into it with my win. Today I'm celebrating the most gorgeous Los Angeles sun shower. It's raining and it's sunning, and I just saw a complete end-to-end rainbow while I was walking Riz, and the actual win in there, other than that she's cleaning herself right now on camera, is that she took a walk in the rain because the sun was out, and so she got tricked. And Riz doesn't usually walk in the rain, but today she walked in the rain, and it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous, and so is our guest today. I cannot wait to share this conversation with Marie Poppins with you, but because on the podcast we start every episode with wins, I go, then you go, you go. Why am I stabbing at you? You should be watching the podcast on YouTube. If you're just listening, I do fun jabby stabbies because culturally I'm sensitive to finger guns and the index finger point, which can be rude. So I'm using blades. I should be using the flight attendant to, index and middle finger. I'll get right into that while you get into your win. What's going well in your world? Fantastic. So proud of you. Keep on winning. Okay, guys, today we're talking to one of my favorite artists. I'm going to start calling her a creature, as she self-identifies as a creature, like a creator, like a creature, whose bullets, if I were to bullet them, like dancer, choreographer, creative director, model, hairialist, which is a word that I made up for aerial hair. It's called hair suspension. She also is a mime. She's a fantastic educator, and she is one hell of an inspiring human being. I sat in that chair and cried 3 times because her words and her thoughts about the world that we live in are so inspiring. And so please learn a lot and enjoy the one and only Marie Poppins. This is it. We're doing it. The one and only Marie Poppins in my living room. What the heck? We have been trying to do this for so long.
Yes.
Thank you for your patience with me and my schedule.
Thank you for having me.
A couple times I reached out to you. You're like, ooh, I'll be in Mexico. Ooh, I'll be in Europe. Oh, this is 2 busy people trying to have a conversation. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you for having me.
Okay, we've got a lot in common, and we're very different people with very different skills, but we have some unusual overlaps, and I'm excited to get to that. But first, I want for you to introduce yourself and tell the listener, viewer, people out there, whatever you want them to know about you.
So I'm Marie Poppins. I am a dancer, performer, choreographer. I am originally from France. Now American as well.
Congrats,
I live in LA.
that's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm a passionate artist that is in love with music first before being in love of dance. I'm a dancer who is in love with the style of popping. Mm-hmm. I'm a part of a collective called Femme Fatale, Iconic House of Ninja, and Style Element Crew.
Style Elements Crew, I did not know you were a member of Style Elements Crew.
Awesome.
And I found that out and I was like, damn.
Yes.
That's fucking cool. Femme Fatale, also cool. I'm a huge fan of you guys. That is one of the things we share in common, is that we are both part of fantastic female trios of dance specialty. Yes. But we'll get into that in a second. You did leave off this list, Marie, that you are a model, and a super smoking hot model at that. I also was watching your feed a couple days ago. You're now dancing with fire. Like, you are a fire dancer.
I wouldn't say I'm a fire dancer. I just
dance with fire.
I picked up the torches and I was like, okay, I can practice with it.
I can do this. Yeah, so it was more for training.
Actually, my friend had a show in Mexico, and her director was like, hey, I would love for you to do your style with fire. Would you be open to it? So, when you have someone empowering you to do something, you're like, okay, it's not really me trying something, it's someone asking me to do it. So I'm just going to try. And
Nice.
that was really cool. We had 2 rehearsals, and then she was like, okay, you're good. You're ready. You're not scared of it. So just go for it. And I like those little challenges.
Yes,
Really
an
fun.
opportunity, something that was sparked by someone else.
Exactly.
But you said yes, not no.
Yeah.
And you wound up like expanding your repertoire, your palette, your skill set.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing that happened with mime? Because I talk about mime on the podcast a lot. People know this. I've had Lorin, who is our mutual mime coach, another one of our shared bonds, eternal bond, by the way. Once you are a mime with someone, you are bound for life. But I found Lorin because I had an audition prompt. I tell this story a lot on the podcast, so I won't go into details. Rhapsody James had a casting. She was looking for Siren's Assassins was the name of her project. She was looking for new characters. And in my mind, I thought of an assassin that was a mime whose weapons, what is this? It's a baseball bat, whose weapons are fake, but the damage is real. And so I was like, wow, that would be so sick. Because I booked that job as this prototype mime, I had to actually learn how to mime. So that's how it worked for me. How did mime introduce itself in your life?
So I am just always interested in learning different things. I think it's cool to be yourself with always like an open heart to different skills. And I was contacted to do a short film, and I got asked if I was doing mime. And, I do, popping, animation, robot. For that short film, they were like, are you willing to be trained in mime?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, sure. So they actually sent me to the training with Lorin.
Yep.
And I got to train with him. I took the whole course. It was 3 days. And at the end, they had me audition, and they were like, okay, we'll get you for the short film. And the short film was about a modern mime that could actually pop and do animation. But on top of it, add miming, and actually they had me doing they had me learn also some martial arts, because in the short film they had the modern mime fight with the more classic mime. So the whole scene, we had to mime a scene where I dance and she gets jealous, and then we end up fighting.
Where is this movie? I have to see this movie.
Actually, I need to post it. I need to post that short film. I never posted it. But yeah,
or
it
we
was
could just
really
have.
cool.
I would settle for a private screening. You do you, but I have to see that.
It was really cool, and I remember that project sparked something in my career, because I was like, how about I let myself open to learn different stuff? Like to learn different skills, and always being open to whatever is thrown at me. I think it's always going to be a plus, because then when you look at it, miming it got me closer to acting, but without the words yet. And I think that's the beauty of what we do. Like, I'm trying to learn something new on any new gig or any new project I'm working on, making sure am I learning from it? Because otherwise, if it's just a job, then what is the point really?
Ooh, I love that mindset.
So there is so much you can mix, and it got me closer to my culture, because, like I was saying, miming, a lot of people do mime in France.
Yeah.
So that got me very curious. What I missed from it, though, doing the miming and stuff, was I was missing the connection with music,
Ooh,
and that's where
yes.
robot or popping or any style is like
super satisfies that
exactly
itch.
Because I realize how much I'm happy when I become a physical manifestation of the music. I think that's the highest feeling I can get, and I love that. So it was a really cool experience.
Yeah.
And from there, I feel like I kept looking for different sensation, different people to work with. For instance, the fire show that I did like last week was very fascinating, because I was working with people who are so professional with fire dance, but they were trusting me, and they were interested in seeing how we can mix with, street dance, voguing, popping, and he brought another layer of creativity. So
you had a real trade swap with people working at a high level, and you also working at a really high level. How long have you been practicing this technique?
For a while, I would say maybe 13 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like every day?
Not every day, no.
But like
no,
5 days
not
a week?
every day. No. Actually, I don't really practice it anymore. I'll be honest.
At the beginning, what would you say? How often
Oh,
did
at
you
the
practice?
beginning, I think the first 3-4 months, I got quickly. I just loved it so much that I got really obsessed, and I wanted to practice every day.
Yes.
So that's why I think it's hard sometimes to measure someone's evolution in an art form, because that depends the time you put in a certain period, you know. So I would say for 3-4 months I was so dedicated. I was dreaming about it. You know, I couldn't wait to get better.
Yeah.
Because I was not really good at first, to be honest. But
Is anyone like?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. I bet Pete was. But then again, when Pete tells the story of like learning from his brother, learning from Boogaloo Sam, he actually, no, I don't think he was good at the beginning. I don't know if anybody is good at that dance at the beginning.
I don't think we're not really good, but we have a spark. And what is cool is when you let people, when your intuition listen to this spark, and especially when someone empowers you. And I remember being 16 in France, and my first teacher ever, his name is Piet, he was like, "You're going to be good at popping." I was all the way in the back in his class, and I had no idea what was this art form. Oh. And he was like, "Come in the front. You hit hard." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like, you pop hard." And he was like, he wanted to pass me the art form. Wow. He was like, "I'm going to train you." And he gave
invested in you.
And he gave me at that
DVD?
time, a VHS at that time. Oh my God.
Yes.
It was the movie Breaking.
Yeah.
And he gave me that like it was like, you know, light was coming around the, the tape. It's like,
angels sing.
You're gonna get inspired. And from there, like, you know, my journey started. And I remember from that day thinking, okay, I'm gonna pay attention to the words of empowerment from people, because it's worth so much. And sometimes we forget to listen to it. Whoa. And how much it gets you evolve. Like if you really, truly, deeply pay attention, like he's telling you that you could be good at this and you felt it. Maybe study it a little bit and
maybe lean into that.
Yeah. And then after that, I kind of like, I was dancing, but not professionally. Mm-hmm. I went to school. I got my bachelor, my master. And all this time I was like, I don't think I can make a living off of this. But when I moved
off of dance,
off of dance,
mm-hmm.
yes. But then when I moved to the US, my life completely changed. Yeah. And it's the same thing. My first competition was at Monsters of Hip Hop, and I entered the battle randomly.
In what city?
Chicago. Mm-hmm. That's where I was staying. And I made it to finals somehow, and I was like, "Oh my God, I love this." The feeling I got, I was
competing.
Like, competing and dancing and just becoming in sync with the music at a certain moment. It just felt warm. It felt good, and I was like, you know what? I love this. I want to feel this for the rest of my life.
Also, I'm crying right now just on this journey with you, listening to you talk about finding your purpose in a place that is so far away from home.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
far away from your school and things like that. Okay, sorry, keep going. I'm so excited.
I remember the word of empowerment. I got it at that moment in Chicago from Napoleon and Tabitha and Dave Scott. I had no idea who they were. I just came from France. I was like, you know, like I was like, hi, thank you. Who are you? And they were like, oh, poor her.
Little baby.
She has no clue who we are. Probably all the movies we've been choreographing, she's been watching, but she has no clue who we are. And it was like, they were like, hey, you should move to LA. You're really good. Like,
yeah.
And I was like, is this real? Like, and when I look back, I'm like, I vividly remember their words. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay, another word of empowerment in my life. I'm going to keep going. Mm-hmm. And until now, I think my, where I get grateful is when I can identify those moments, you know? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was the starting point.
It sounds like those were a few of the key moments, right? Your popping teacher in France gives you break-in, Napoleon and Tabitha, Dave Scott, they say, hey, you're pretty good. Have any happened since then that you can recall? Like in your professional life? You've been out here for how many years now?
Oh, maybe 15 years, something like that. Other moments like this, Pete, of course. Popping Pete is definitely someone that was a big part of my career, because he told me, he was like, okay, you want to do this style, but you're gonna have to open your knowledge to other styles. You're gonna have to learn choreography. You're gonna
Love
have
Pete for that.
to get more versatile, because you want to work. You want to
Make
this
money.
to be. You want to make
outside
money
of battles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want this to be a profession, and this resonated very heavily for me, because if you want to make a living off of this, you know you're gonna have to open your mind to other things. And I remember he called me one time. He was like, okay, randomly, he just checked on me. He was like, okay, are you taking classes? Are you learning other dance styles? Are you expanding your knowledge? He was like, it's okay to have a specialty and be good at it. Just make sure you're gonna be flexible in doing maybe different jobs or being thrown at different things. And also, after one competition, I remember at freestyle session, I lost in finals, and versus Green Tech, and I was very sad and confused, because people tell you to do this art from a certain way. He came to me. He said, "Block the noise. Do you? Never lose what you are doing. It's unique. Keep pushing it."
Yeah.
And he left.
Who was this?
Popping Pete. And yeah, it's another empowerment in my journey. And
That message is slightly different versus, hey, go do something you've never done. This message was, keep doing what you're doing.
yeah. So I think the
love
resume
that.
of this is, again, like I say, like, be yourself with an open heart. Keep those two. Like, make sure you
In balance.
you open,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
balance both. I think it's pretty cool. Like, then it's a cool journey.
What I think is pretty cool is that we've been talking for like a handful of minutes. I've already cried once. I love this. This is my favorite thing to do. Okay. Yeah, I can see you as being a person who says yes to new things and says yes to what they know and what they're good at. And that combination of those two things is like 1 + 1 = 1 million. This is working for you. I want to talk about what I'm calling the audition that was heard round the world. The audition heard round the world. Because I think auditions in particular are a place where saying yes and being open are like money in the bank.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're walking into, and they're all different. So you have to be willing, right? You have to say yes to whatever is being asked. And also you have to know when to just do you.
Yeah.
So there was an audition recently. I'm calling it the audition heard around the world because it was the only thing people were talking about for probably like 2-3 weeks, maybe more. Still, if I bring it up, people are like, oh, like it's triggering for some people. Dancers were asked as part of the first cut to stand in a straight line, do a turn sequence into a layout, into an acro sequence to no music. Just one at a time, standing in line, step forward, turn, layout, acro, turn, layout, acro, turn, layout, acro. And people are getting cut left and right. People who are technically trained are falling out of turns because of the pressure and choking. And I think I've heard horror stories of this moment. But then in that mix of horror stories that I heard that you were there and that you did not do a pirouette and you did not do a layout and you did not do an acro element, but you did you and you made it past that first cut. I want to hear about that experience from your perspective.
Yeah.
What was your internal dialogue when that was being asked of you? Was something that I'm assuming is outside of your wheelhouse, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah. So that audition, when I went, I was in line, and you kept hearing dancer getting out of the room and saying like, "Oh my God, this is crazy! They ask you to do pirouette and kicks and turn and lift," and as people were saying that, other women were leaving. They were like, "Oh, it's not in my. I cannot do that. I'm just gonna leave. I don't want to waste my time." And people are getting a little bit upset. So I'm like, this energy has been created. And I'm like, I drove all the way here. I printed out a resume. I put my makeup on. I find a fresh outfit, I'm not gonna leave. Like, I mean, at least
Certainly not because other people have an attitude.
yeah, and I feel like we have to be careful also with that in the
With the
energy
energy.
we pass to other dancers. You know, you here, you're going for a job and you hope to get it. I don't think you should listen to the other competitors. Like we're in competition in that moment. Let's be
Yes.
real. We are
Yes.
friends, but we also. So I'm not saying people were coming out of bad intention to saying that. That was the truth. Like you know, they were filtering.
They were shook.
Quick.
People were processing,
Yeah.
feeling
Yeah.
outnumbered or not outgunned. People were processing, feeling
Yeah.
rejected or incapable or like scared or you know, all sorts of things, unwanted feelings come up in auditions. But certainly if you feel like you weren't well prepared.
Yeah, or if you feel like you don't match, okay, cool, you can leave. But I'm like, okay, I came all the way and I'm here. Cool. The first thing I did is I went back to the audition notice and it said 3 things. It says strong at hip hop choreography, strong at freestyle, and strong at contemporary. Okay. I looked at it. I'm like, okay, well, that was kind of like clear that they wanted also contemporary trained people.
Yeah. So we should.
Okay, cool. I'm here. I have the info. But how about I'm going to see myself what it is about instead of relying on what people say and then this put insecurities on me. I will. Either way, I know who I am. I know what I can do. What is the worst that can happen? You know?
Oh, I love that question. What's the worst that could happen?
What is the worst that can happen?
They say no?
Yeah, they say no. Well, like I think sometimes with dancers, we think like the world care about us. No, at that moment, they don't care. If you get cut, it's okay. You go home, you go practice.
In a great
anyway.
way and in a terrible way.
Yeah. I mean, I went to the room, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I remember at that moment, I was still hesitating. Like, should I just go home? And no, I'm here. Come on, like, let's just go. Like, I already put my name
on.
makeup.
I'm on the list. Yes, I
On the
signed in.
list,
I got to do it.
And then when we were in the room, it was, you know, lines of girls. And then the choreographer explains what she wants to see. And then suddenly I see a lot of girls going like pirouette and kicks and turns and lift. And I'm like, okay, I have 2 options right now. Either I raise my hand and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just going to go out. Or I stay, I don't say anything. I don't want them to waste their time. Like, do they really care at that moment that I cannot do it? Like they're busy trying to book someone.
Right.
So I already
trying to book someone. Yes.
I already committed to be in the room. Might as well make the best out of it. And what I loved about coming from battle scene, from street performing, from that world, is that you're gonna make sure people's gonna watch you. You build that thing to where you're like, no matter what, they're gonna remember me. Like, and I know I cannot channel it all the time. Like maybe 5% of the time I can channel it, but I know when I'm in tune, I don't think I'm stoppable. Like I know people are gonna watch me. I appreciate what I do because I have something to offer. It's not all the time it happens. It's also a lot of insecurities that I go through. But I love when I tune in that page where I have that feisty character that is like, I came all the way here. I've been doing that for a long time. Please watch my art. If you don't want me,
Behold.
that's fine.
Please,
and we'll see.
enjoy.
And then, what I did is like, I know it mentioned you have to do turns. I do voguing, pop, dip, and spin. The word spin, I can spin and turn, finish to a cobra, finish to something cool with a wave, and that would be enough.
Yes.
And I will make it short and precise, and let's see what happens. And so I do my thing, and they're like, okay. And then they call my number, and I'm like, are you sure? Okay, so I stay. And then somehow, that was the weirdest thing that happened. I had like so many girls coming to me and be like, you staying? Like they were shocked I was staying. Some people came and say like, good job, you killed it. And some were like mad almost that I got kept. I'm like, well, work on your being unique and don't like it's not my problem.
It's not my problem. It wasn't my choice that I got asked to stay.
After the reality is, I did the hip hop choreography, was okay. Then it was a pretty heavy contemporary.
I heard about it.
Choreography that was amazing, but I had so much fun. And again, I stayed with that open heart that I want to learn something from that process.
Nice.
And the teacher, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, but he was teaching the contemporary section of it.
I believe
And
it was
I loved
Terry
it.
Terry
I
Beeman.
loved it. I was like, I know he was looking at me like, okay, well, she cannot really keep her leg, but I was taking the info. I'm like, I'm here. I'm getting a free class for an hour.
A free masterclass.
Yeah.
Terry.
It was today. I was not having a job. I was not missing on another opportunity other than training with someone that is very skilled in that set.
In a discipline that you don't know much about.
That I still have some knowledge about, but not at the level that I practice popping.
Ooh, yeah.
And I had fun. I had so much fun. And again, looking back, the casting said, strong at hip hop, strong at contemporary. I had that casting notice 2 weeks ago. All I had to do was why I didn't go take some contemporary
Train
classes.
up a little bit.
Yeah, why I go refresh, I don't go like get those techniques a little bit. I know I'm not going to have it in 2 weeks, but to actually still, believe that I can do a little bit of it,
or to speak enough of the language that you can receive and try
exactly
a little bit more informed.
And it went from having 100% confidence in my solo at the beginning. I was like,
you were tuned in,
no question.
Yeah.
And then once it was time to go with the contemporary audition, you could see on my face like, no. I'm
scared.
And it's a blessing and a curse to be a street dancer, I think, to be specialized in street styles, because we are so purist in what we do that it kind of goes against you, where when it's time to kind of like
do something that's not your thing,
you kind of want to show it in your face. You kind of want to almost tell the choreographer like, this is not my main style. Try all the way through. I have a friend, he's an amazing dancer. His main background is more hip hop, and he booked the job actually.
Yeah.
So, and we talked about it. He was like, you should have sold it even more. And I went home. I'm like, I need to take responsibilities for these things. And if I know I have an audition like this, go all the way through with it, 100%. Go take your contemporary classes. Go train in that. Try to understand it, and then do your best. But I think on my face you could see I was like, no. I already defeated myself.
Yeah, you cut yourself.
Yeah, I cut myself.
The same way that the people who left before the audition even started cut themselves.
Exactly. But the positive about it is the choreographer, when I left, she was like, you did a great job. And for me, this meant so much. And looking at the bigger picture, I'm like, well, maybe in the future, this is someone who might contact me to choreograph a popping piece, or something with arm movement, who's going to be like, okay, for a show like this, how about I call Mary Poppins for that? Like,
yes, you made an imprint. You made an impact.
She showed interest in working with me. Who knows? So I didn't waste my time. I didn't regret going. And I invite dancers to make the best out of the situation. Because I actually hate auditions. I never got any of my job. I never got jobs. Rarely got jobs out of auditions. All my jobs, I got them, surprisingly. I got a lot of my jobs from doing battles. Like commercials too. Like I remember I did a battle one time in Seattle, and one of the judges was a choreographer, and she was like, hey, I have a Sonos commercial for you. You want to do it? Like, or then going to the club, or going to environments where I was fully myself.
Right.
And the audition, sometimes it's annoying because you feel like you cannot be fully yourself.
Yeah, when you're trying to fit the specifications that are on the breakdown.
And it's a skill. I think I really admire dancers who are so tuned in during an audition, who are not all over the place and can focus. For me, I get very stressed during the audition process. Like I mean, I don't want to audition that much anymore now. I really want to choreograph more.
Nice.
Because I see my piece there. But I would say one advice, like if you go to an audition, like approach it like a competition, approach it like a battle, and be like, I'm going to showcase myself at the highest level, no matter what happened. So, and that's fine. I didn't fall. I had no one like mocking me. I had no one.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, did my career ended because I didn't do 3 pirouettes? No, it's okay. But I had a good time. Like,
I love this story so much.
And I think I actually like that they did that at the beginning of the audition. It was a quick filter on what they want, and that made sense to me. Why would I complain about that? Like, if if I do an audition that's going to require popping and voguing, you can make sure that the first step is going to be like, okay, show me you can pop first. Show me you can do a dip. Show me. The audition will probably start like that.
Yep.
So it's the same concept.
Yeah. You respected it. And as a result, you left the room with their respect.
Yeah, but it's, I had literally 2 or 3 people calling me like, I heard you stayed.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I heard you stayed. It was like word on the street.
This is so weird. Anyway, that was kind of weird. But.
I think that a lot of people were upset with themselves for not upkeeping a certain level of training that would allow them to knock out those things without batting an eye.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people blamed LA for not offering great jazz classes. I heard a lot of people blaming the way the audition was held, but I think what it really was is people who were disappointed that a skill that maybe they even had at one time had gotten rusty, and they felt like it was the skill that was being evaluated. In that moment, it's so much more than the skill that is being evaluated. It's how you show up under pressure. It's how you perform. It's how you negotiate what you want versus what I have. It's like all the other things that are not the skill that and all auditions are that way. From the second you walk in the door, we're observing things other than skills. Because jobs are about more than the skills on their face, right? Especially for this project. Nobody, I don't think, no, they're not standing doing pirouettes from fourth on this project. They're all performers. They're all...
Yeah, but at least they have the option to know that if they ask a dancer, hey, can you throw 3 pirouettes?
Then the answer is
then they can.
yes.
And, sorry, I can't. But
yeah. But while they're doing that, you can be doing all these other marvelous things. Yeah. Okay, thank you for sharing that story. I've been dying to hear it straight from your mouth, and I am excited for people to hear about your experience of that room, and as a reminder of the importance of mindset. Because you had that experience of the same room. Like nothing was different about the circumstance, but your experience of it was so different because of the way you were thinking.
Yeah, I think I was blocking the noise at that moment, and it's not something I'm able to do all the time. Sometimes I get,
caught up.
It feels like a bunch of bees around you at that moment, like everybody talking. What is happening? How did it go? Blah blah blah. Oh, wow! Block the noise and focus on you.
Yeah.
At that moment.
Can I take a hard right turn?
Yeah.
I am a person who's very influenced by how I feel while I'm dancing. And I was very fortunate in my timing and placement. I met Poppin' Pete, learned most of what I know about popping directly from him. I got to train with him and with others who know what the fuck they're talking about. I got to perform for more than a year some of Pete's choreography, so nightly or daily practice, at least to an extent. And what I can tell about myself is that I have to really feel the way my clothes hang and the way my body looks in order to dance that style. As soon as you take away my baggy shirt and my fucking baggy pants and make me wear like a bra and a tight short, my dancing, I feel whack. And then I look at you, I just watched today, and I'm going to include a clip of it, the piece that you shot in front of all these lights, and you're wearing like barely covering the bits.
Oh yeah.
And you are popping. You are really dancing. You're not just like posing and like making shapes, but you're really hitting in really almost nothing. What is that conversation like in your head? Was that transition easy for you? Did you always like practice in your underwear so this was no big deal? Look at me, like my fake Fresno. Like what? Like how does that moment of like, okay, and here's what you're actually wearing. Okay. How does that moment work for you?
I'm going to mention someone, a friend of ours.
Tony Basil.
Of course. There she is. One and Tony Basil. She's coming in the conversation. So my first popping battle I won was Hip Hop International. And I was dressed up like so large because my people I was looking up to at that time, it was less girls doing popping style. Of course I was looking more up to people that I admire, and I would
You modeled yourself after them.
Subconsciously, you kind of start copying, and the looseness of clothes also, it does feel good. And after I won the battle, I went to Tony Basil.
Oh no. Did she pinch you?
No. I said, "Hi, Tony. Can you give me a little feedback about my dance?" I asked her, Boogaloo Sam, and Don Campbellock. Them three. Ooh. And look, it's so funny, that story. I'm like, "Can you guys give me like some feedback on my technique?"
Yes.
I was so hungry to get better.
Yes.
And she was like, "Girl, your clothes. Like, look how you dressed." And Boogaloo Sam and Don Campbellock look at me, they're like, yes. Like, they
co-signed her?
They were like so sad and looking at me, they're like, kind of like, wow. And I'm like, and I had a very loose shirt. Like, yeah, you couldn't see a little bit of my skin, you know? But I did good in the battle. I had a bandana in my hair. It looked so terrible. J-Rock gave me that bandana. That's why I wore it, because I was like, this is going to give me luck for the story. I don't think he knows. But so...
J-Rock, also, I'm coming for you. I would love to have you on the podcast sometime. Big fan.
And then, so Tony Basil, I'm like, I couldn't understand. I'm like, what do you mean? She was like, bring something else. You know, you're a woman... You're a beautiful woman. You can show off.
I love her for this.
And wear something else. And then I told her, I'm like, but I'm not comfortable, wearing something else. And she was like, well, at least try something different, you know? And she was like, how do you dress in your everyday life? Like, do you dress like this when you and I'm like, no, not really. And there you go, you know, my first, like, how do I say? Fog.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was so confused. I'm like, I asked for technique and move, and they tell me
And you're
this.
telling me my outfit is lame. Thanks.
So then, that's where I started. And that's where I kind of started questioning the gender,
gender norm
within that style.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons why I love popping style is like I was never able to say like, okay, that's for men, for women, this is more masculine, feminine. What is masculine energy? What is feminine energy? Is it fire and water? What is it?
What is that even?
So I think now that I got more mature, I always define this as not masculine and feminine. I always see it like, okay, water and fire. That's for me the best definition of it. Like, and as a dancer, you kind of want to have the strongest dancer I know are the ones who have those two. And then after that, I actually learned another art form, which is a tribal belly dance. I got I got to learn a little bit of tribal belly dance for a little bit. And they use a lot of isolation and stuff with popping movement, but they don't wear a lot of clothes. And I thought it was pretty beautiful. So again, I was putting this and trying. So yeah, I was like, how about I make it, more... what is the problem with revealing a little bit of skin? What is
about the body? Like, the dance is so physical and so mechanically interesting.
And you know what is
that why would you want to not see it?
I had a ballet teacher, Jennifer Nime-Smith. I don't know if you know her.
I don't.
She's a ballet teacher, and she came to me. She was like, I don't understand why people who do popping wear loose clothes. I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm like, and for you, it's obvious that we have to. And she was like, no, it should be like ballet dancer. We need to see
what's happening.
Yeah, we need to see what's happening. And again, another person who tell me something else.
Interesting.
That makes me think. And I don't think there is right or wrong. It's just finding comfort in the clothing style.
And confidence in your technique.
Confidence in the technique, and always find what material fits you more. Of course, a loose shirt, you would see the pop more, but there is no rule on that topic, and I started playing more with, my body type and how I can move and what I'm okay to showcase and not showcase. And for me, that's my definition of my femininity, is how I feel comfortable. And I remember choreographing stuff for people and be like, yeah, we're going to be in bras and are you okay?
And they're like,
sure. And that's the kind of the same thing. Like, okay, let's jump into it and see what happens. But if someone wants to go even less dressed, why not? If you want to cover more, go for it. Like, I invite women to just find whatever is there sexy and whatever make them comfortable. Like you could see... she's not a popper, but you look at Kathleen Watson, for example, like when she teaches, she has like a, baggy pants and shirt. And it's like the movement is like super flowy and sexy. And I'm like, it really doesn't depend on the clothes, At the same time, I love also the challenge of like, I look at a burlesque dancer and I'm like, oh, I could do a burlesque number. I think my next thing would be probably a burlesque number or choreographing burlesque dancer.
Yes, my friend.
I don't know. There is no limit to it. But coming back to this, thank you, Tony Basil.
Yes, thank you, Tony. Always. I knew that she had a piece in that, but I didn't know that it was your first battle that you ever won.
Yeah,
Riding off of that high.
She's like, no, you're gonna.
She's like the fit, babe.
And Boogaloo Sam saying the same thing,
co-signing. Oh,
so I was like,
that would have tipped the scale for me. I would have probably shed a tear. Thank you for that. Speaking of women and powerful women, I want to talk about Femme Fatale because I admire the shit out of you all so much. Could you talk a little bit how you three met? Because you're not from you're from far different corners of the world. How did you meet, and how do you manage being an individual choreographer, performer, working person in the world, and having this thing that you love and choose? And I know for me anyways, it can be difficult to balance carving out time and money to produce Seaweed Sister projects when the paying work out there is also knocking.
So Femme Fatale is a dance collective with me, Dasili, and Lily Frias. And we are from different part of the world, South Korea, France, Mexico. And it's pretty much a collaboration of three brains, and where we want to express something on a higher level than that you can do alone. We can go far alone. We can go even further with an amazing group. And beyond that, it becomes your chosen family in LA, in the industry.
Yes.
And I really wish to any dancer in LA to find their chosen family, their circle of life, because that you're a foreigner or not, that's going to help you grow. And it comes with time. And I think the first performance we had, that's where I felt it. We created a piece, and it was like three superheroes on stage, and it's kind of like what I was feeling performing alone. I could feel it 3 times stronger with these two ladies, where we would lift each other.
What was the first thing you performed?
So we did a competition in Sweden called Dance Delight that we won, and then after that we performed it at Carnival, and the video went like 20 million views, and we were like, oh wow,
we have something here.
It felt like this. It felt like we have something here, and when your intuition is telling you that something is good, and let's go for it. And I think we understood each other on certain points, such as being women in street dance, starting our career with the battles, wanted to work in the industry, looking beyond the stereotypes, like a lot of things we had in common. And as we created, we had so much to say. And I think now we are 3 pillars to where if one fall, everything can fall. So we have to check constantly on each other. Are you okay? How is everything beyond dance? How is life? How you doing? And I watching them doing good push me to do better. You just elevate each other. And going back to what you were asking, like, how do I manage myself? Mary Poppins separated to Femme Fatale. We have our downtime. We learn how to have our personal space as well for our own creativity. And we empower each other with that. For instance, if I'm about to do a solo for, I don't know, World of Dance, I ask them like, hey, ladies, like, what do you think? What do you think of my song choice?
Nice.
And they're going to be honest, like, yeah, but how about you use something where you can showcase your voguing, for example? Or it's always going to be about like, hey, like, you can push further, and it feels so good to have that support. And I think it's always having that balance. And I see what you mean when it's like you want to have this collective grow and, crew, collective, however you want to call it, you want it to grow and you have so much vision. And also it's important to not lose yourself, your personal identity as well. Otherwise, you're going to affect the group.
Yeah.
So it goes with a lot of communication, like in any family.
It's a relationship. It's a family.
It's a relationship, yeah. And with different personalities. And in our case, we are from 3 different countries, which is super interesting when we speak English because it's a bunch of accents.
I want to be in the room. I want to hear it.
We have our own, words that we make up.
Your own, 4th language that only you speak.
Yeah. But it's just great, whenever we have something going off beyond dance, we are here for each other. And we help each other when it comes to the industry. When it comes to the fee, when it comes to the treatment, hey ladies, I was on this job, this happened, what do you think? Is it normal? Should I say something? It's good to have your circle
that you can
check with. And
more brains, more better.
Yeah. And then, automatically people always want to put you in competition. I had people telling me but you guys are in straight up competition, you guys 3. I'm like, no, we're not. We're completely different. 3 different people.
Absolutely.
3 different creators. And we just, collaborate and make something, work together. But
I love that.
We're not really. Yeah, we do the same style, but why does it have to always be one woman in one style, in one thing? No, it can be many versions of it. And I always go back to one thing. We're all unique at the moment we hear music differently. Music make us feel and move and act differently because it triggers stuff from your past or how you grow up or anything that is unmatchable, uncomparable. So we are
infinitely different.
So from that point, we good, and we also, push each other to develop our own, thing. For instance, I know I want to do more creative directions. I want to tap into acting. I want to choreograph. Dacia has her online platform. We have
your own projects.
Our own project. I think it's healthy to do both.
Yeah.
But also in certain moments, I know how it feels. I'm sure the Seaweed Sister is the same thing. You're going to have to dedicate some time.
Yeah. You have to say no to something and yes to each other. Yeah.
And it's a gamble. You don't know. I had no idea where this project Femme Fatale would go. And we got blessed to do amazing things and be contacted for this.
Yeah.
We did a job with Vogue, for example, where they got inspired from our Men's World piece where we did
I'm obsessed
with a suit, this is a Men's World.
Yeah.
And then from there, they were like, hey, we want Adidas and Gucci put the suits on you and you're going to walk the runway with that.
That's cool.
And I think I prefer to do this than, than maybe be among a cast of 100 dancers, which is okay too. It's fine, but we put the work for that.
What a special thing.
Yeah. So the work pays off usually. The work pays off. So.
And very cool to be recognized globally for a thing that started as only not a small connection, but a personal thing.
Yeah.
Something that is so personal and specific and singular to be recognized as having value on a global level is really cool. It's very affirming.
So right now the opportunities are endless, creating a theater show, doing a collaboration with the Seaweed Sisters.
Same. I'm telling you, it's a matter of time. You know what I'm loving about you, and I love hearing your discernment between, it's all mindset, right? Our experience of our life is so much determined by the way that we're thinking about our lives. But I love the way you discern or that you choose when we're all the same. We're all the same here.
Yeah.
Versus, oh no, we are absolutely 100% different.
Yeah.
You decide at the exactly most valuable time when to deploy which of those thoughts.
Yeah.
In an audition, it's powerful for you to think, nope, we're not the same. I have me, you have you. I am singular, so are you, but we are in competition right now and we're different. Versus we 3 women from different corners of the world are women we're the same. We've got so much in common. please be mindful of your minds when you are choosing to think we're the same and we're different. Because those two thoughts dramatically affect how you experience whatever is coming next.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I love the way you choose we're
Yeah.
the same and we're different, because man, it seems like you're really serving yourself and your projects by deciding when to think which of those thoughts.
and it's cool, it teaches you also how to collaborate with people, listening to other ideas, and when you can bring yours and listen to others, like we learn so much from that process, and
It is in this business, in this medium of dance, it is all a collaboration. Like, you can get better at dance on your own. You can even make dance on your own. But as soon as you introduce an audience, it's already a collaboration between you and the viewer.
Exactly.
And when you start making work on larger scales, it's almost never made in a vacuum by one person for one person. So getting good at collaboration is essential.
Yeah.
And it sounds like your openness and your encouragement of other people to also get better helps you get better. And
I like that process of getting better. Of course, it goes with, like, some insecurities. It goes with doubts.
Yeah.
I just feel like very recently, I decided to keep considering myself as a creature that evolves more than a dancer or an artist or a popper or whatever. Because if you see yourself as a creature, you keep mutating, you keep like evolving, and you can allow yourself to really get to the next level.
To edges of like what you thought was even available to you.
Exactly. So even getting, more mature, older, you're like, okay, but that's actually cool. Like, then you get more at peace when you evolve with your age, with your knowledge. You're like, no, I'm just like something that mutates, that's gonna need new food and gonna need new stuff to get
grow
molded
into whatever this next
else.
shape is.
Yeah.
I just remember seeing you hanging from your hair. You're doing aerial.
Hair suspension.
Do you call it? It should be called hairial. I don't know why we're not calling it hairial.
Yeah,
what do you
hair
call
suspension.
It? Hair suspension.
Yeah.
How does it work? What's the rig like?
Okay, so again, I'm not a professional hair suspension person. Like, there is people that do.
Oh, for sure.
You can look up to people like Suspension Sisters. Like, they actually hang each other from the hair. It's insane. But again,
Suspension Sisters should also collaborate with the Seaweed Sisters.
It's amazing what the body can do. And I had a friend, same thing. She was like, have you ever thought of doing hair suspension?
No, can't say that I have.
And then she was like, because it would allow yourself to move all your parts.
Yeah. 360 degrees of freedom.
Exactly.
No weight.
Exactly.
Yeah. But is it hard to hit without weight? Is it hard to pop without weight?
And that was very interesting. It was like, in terms of anatomy, I had to play with it and see what works, what doesn't work. So I know a backslide worked well.
I saw that. That was sick.
And then I'm always fascinated about like mixing art forms. And I think for me, the best artist, or the most interesting, I wouldn't say best, I would say most interested artists, or the one who's going to dare to take a bass and tweak it and try something different with it, according to your intuition with it. So first you need to learn the foundation of it, which is like, it's a whole art form.
Yeah.
It's a whole secretive things on how you make the knot and stuff.
Right.
And from there, like, the first time I lifted in the air, it was over. I'm like, oh, I can do anything in life now.
Wow.
That feeling was so cool.
Do you have to be conscious about like core and support? Like, I know when I'm lifted by humans, counter resistance is really important. Are you thinking about?
Well, this art form is more made by circus artists that already have a strong base in other art forms, so they're already very strong. So
these are acrobats. Yeah.
You have already like a whole workshop on how to like warm up. My teacher in Mexico was teaching me. It's an art form I learned in Mexico, and I just loved it. To be honest, I haven't practice it more.
Yeah, limited spaces you can practice.
Yeah, but what I love about this is like if one day I get the chance to work with, circus artists and choreograph a piece where you have 3 people doing popping and 3 people doing hair suspension, I know the feeling of it. And that's why I want to get all those skills, because if one day I have to work,
You want to be able to speak
I
the
want to be
language.
able to have that empathy. I'm doing, okay, I know they cannot stay in the air too long. Like the max
And that
is
this
maybe
works
3
well
minutes.
and that doesn't work well.
Exactly.
If we put a lot of energy in this, the reward is not so strong.
Yeah.
But if we do that sort of thing, then...
But it was cool to feel... Yeah, I love to feel like a creator in that sense, to where it's like I can try stuff. It put me at ease to where I'm like, no, I'm not only a popper or a dancer. I can try other things.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be
Oh,
perfect.
it suits you so well.
And that's why I like people sometimes I can see they are scared to even dance in front of me or pop because they think I'm going to judge.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I don't own this dance. It's for... if anything, people who created it own it more.
Mm-hmm.
And still it's movement, just try stuff and experiment and let it be free. Like technique should never be something that stop your freedom. If anything,
It should facilitate freedom.
Technique should facilitate freedom. So if it does the contrary, then it gives you a block. So then
my friend, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, it's true. It's like sometimes we want to do it so well. We want to pay respect. Of course, we should pay respect to it. And at the same time, allowing ourselves to exist within that technique and find our freedom. Because when you think about it, when you're between... I don't know, you're a teenager, you hear some songs and you love this song, it moves your soul, but you don't have the tools yet to express those songs.
Yes.
And then as you grow as a dancer, you're getting all these tools to be able to express those songs you loved when you were younger. Why limiting yourself? Now you have the technique, and go back to your teenage time.
What lights your
or
soul
your
on
kid,
fire.
Yeah, go back to your kid intuition that loved that song. And now, boom, there you go. You have it for you to express. And that's where you chase the technique or the knowledge, because you're like, oh, I want to be able to understand how to express that song. And that's why I love now doing solos on songs that I loved when I was 10 or 15. Because now I can show the layers
you have the
of
vocabulary to express yourself. I'm crying again. So great job.
Yay!
Boom. Okay, are you ready for our next and final round? This is our rapid fire.
Okay.
I call it wrist roll with it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna answer from your guts. Use your intuition. Here we go. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Dogs or cats? Riz is listening.
Dogs.
Good answer. What's the most French thing about you?
My crepes.
You make crepes?
I make the best French crepes in the world. Yeah, I'm very...
Do you have a griddle, or like how do you do it?
No, just one. I make every Sunday. I make crepes, and I'm the best at it. I'm very arrogant about that.
We're coming over as a episode release.
You guys can all come over.
I'm crying again. Not at the mention of crepes. I get emotional.
Yeah.
That's who I am. What is your favorite song to dance to?
Oh my God.
I know.
Song? Sade, Smooth Operator.
Woo! You two were meant to be.
It was my So You Think You Can in song, but I still,
you two were meant to be. You and that song are synonymous.
Yes.
I love it. Is there a song that you'd be like, oh, don't need to hear that again ever? That can be retired.
I'm sorry, America. Any country song.
Fair.
No, I don't. No. Actually, no. There's certain country songs I like. Is there one song? I'm sorry, there is no song right
That's
now
okay. That's fine. I think that's very, very polite of you. Do you sing?
I do karaoke.
Okay, got it. That's fair. What was the last song that you belted, like sang it full voice?
Ain't Nobody, Shaka Khan. That's my karaoke song.
I love it.
And yes, I cannot sing, but wow, I feel like, yeah.
I bet you feel very in yourself when you sing that song. Okay, kind of on the song front, what is your favorite move and your least favorite move?
My favorite move is probably any tutting movement. And my worst move, I cannot flip anything that has to do with dealing with doing a
Being upside down.
flip or something. Yeah, I can't flip.
We're very tall. It would take a great amount of momentum to get you to flip. Okay, so I think I already know the answer to this based on your previous answer. Your last meal on Earth. We know the world is ending. Something terrible is going to happen. You get to free reign on what you're going to eat. What is it?
We'll say a meal cooked by my grandma.
Oh, good answer.
Yes.
Very good
Which
answer.
one? She's so good, so I don't know. Yeah.
Well, she
probably.
should make a buffet of things, of her specialties.
Yes.
What about a dream collaboration? Somebody living or dead that you could collaborate with?
Oh, wow. Wow, what an amazing question. Okay, let me think. Galen Hooks.
I bought my tickets just now.
Yeah.
I'm coming to see that show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Two very powerful, very talented and capable women. That would,
see.
yes.
Galen, I asked you already, but I'm still waiting. Or Dana Wilson. By the way, one time I had a friend from France. He messaged me. He sent me a video of you, and he was like, why don't you collab with her? She's so dope. Like, I can see you guys collab. So yeah, this was like maybe 5 years ago.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, I have a little space over there. Like, we could definitely do that. Like, now.
Yeah.
Yes, the answer is yes. And also, I'm very free right now. So what are you doing? Because I'm so free. Like, so free. Okay. Favorite word?
Courage.
Nice. Least favorite word?
I can't.
Yeah.
It's 2 words.
That's a doozy.
Cannot.
Well,
anyway.
can't by itself that sucks. Okay, and then I ask all of my guests this question because this podcast is about the words that move you. Do you have a quote or a mantra or a guiding principle or a North Star, the words that move you?
Wow. Oof.
It's fine. I'm also shopping for mine. I don't know what mine are right now.
Love what you do. It never gets old.
Yeah. I
eat a lot of crepes.
Eat crepes, love what you do. Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, I love all of the things that you do. I'm a huge fan of yours. I'm so grateful for your time and your talent and your ability to express yourself even in your second language. So fucking good on you for that. Yeah. Thank you 1,000 times for being here.
Thank you so much, Dana.
You're very welcome.
What else should I? Yeah, that's it.
That's it. We just did a podcast. If you like the podcast, please leave a review or rating. Click the bell for notifications. Visit wordsthatmoveme.com to find out more ways that we can move the world together and move each other and get out into the world and keep it very funky. Bye.
Woo! Merci.
This podcast was produced by me with the help of many. Big love to our executive assistant and editor, Riley Higgins. Our communications manager is Ori Valladares. Our music is by Max Winnie. Logo and brand design by Bree Reitz. Thumbnails and marketing by Fiona Small. You can make your tax-deductible donations to Words That Move Me, thanks to our fiscal sponsor, the Dance Resource Center. And also, many thanks to you. I'm so glad you're here, and if you're digging the pod, please share it. Leave a review and rating. And if you want to coach with me and the many marvelous members of the Words That Move Me community, visit wordsthatmoveme.com. If you're simply curious to know more about me and the work I do outside of this podcast, visit thedanawilson.com.